105.5 WDHA here on the Jersey Magazine. You may be familiar with the name Rob Ambrosino. He's from the area. He passed away tragically this past September after suffering a brain aneurysm. Rob was very active in teaching, in coaching, and musical circles. And this coming Saturday, there's a big performance in Rob's honor, Ambropalooza. And with us this morning on the Jersey Magazine is Rostafa. Good morning and welcome to WDHA and the Jersey Magazine.
Oh, good morning. What time is it?
It's pretty early.
Is it 5 a.m. somewhere?
Probably somewhere. Tell us about your relationship with Rob.
Oh, God, where do I begin? Rob and I met March 29th, 2019 at Lake Mohawk Country Club in Sparta, New Jersey. For a lot of people who don't know, he ran a pretty popular open mic, open jam at Lake Mohawk Country Club. Rob was a member of that club. He really brought in a lot of business. A lot of people may not understand or know that. And he brought musicians together, especially those that were going through a lot in their own personal lives, that were able to commute. They were able to get, take their frustrations or whatever they had on their minds, on their spirits, and to be able to just put into something good. We met. I actually have a photo of that very same day that we met that somebody posted that I found recently. And it's just a picture of us just like in a circle, sort of kind of like a kumbaya type of a thing with electric gear. But that's how I met Rob. And I got to know him a little bit better, especially through his family. Christina Ambrosino, his wife, is just so sweet. Also, his kids as well, I met sporadically. They just been absolutely wonderful in the whole process. And then actually, when Rob was alive, I actually met his dad, Jerry. And a lot of people may not know this, but Jerry and Rob were founders of Sparta's chapter of Unico. Okay. Unico is an Italian heritage organization. And if anybody knows the name Ambrosino, you're Italian. My mom is actually a D'Onofrio, so I come from Italian descent also, in case you haven't noticed. I don't want to. It's that Sicilian blood, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But yeah, so we started supporting each other on various other gigs and various other music scenes. Last year, actually, around July, I did an African-American heritage festival called Kemet Music and Arts Festival that I produced and I also performed at. And one of our guitar players in my band actually got COVID. And we needed somebody to cover. And I begged Rob, can you please do this? Because I don't really know anybody else I can trust really at this point. And he said yes. He did one rehearsal with us, I think, up at Richie's Music, which, by the way, Richie's Music is one of our sponsors over in Rockaway. And just want to give Carlos a shout out. He's been a wonderful help. And he also played along with me last year as well as playing this year in our band. And it was a wonderful performance. I'm actually going to, at some point, repost the event that we did last year. And we're definitely going to make some good use out of it with Rob playing. But as you alluded to earlier, I hadn't seen Rob in about like over a month since we did Float Fest, which is a great outdoor float fest with basically a lot of boats on Lake Mohawk and watch musical performances. And basically a month later, we had done the open mic again up at the Tiki Bar because sometimes we would play outside. And little did I know that would be the last time that I saw him. He actually lost weight because he was trying to get back in the shape because, during COVID, of course, bad habits come about. And then the unfortunate part about it is I was in a rush because I actually had to go on vacation a few days later. And sadly, I got the phone call on Sunday that he had gone to the hospital, didn't really know what was going on. And then on Monday, as I'm getting off the bus to my destination, that's where I got the news that, they were pulling the plug on him, that he suffered from a brain aneurysm. But right before they pulled the plug, I was told later that he was an organ donor. And a lot of people may not know this also, but it's very tough to become an organ donor. Like 1% of the population is only allowed to be an organ donor. And he was approved. So his wife, in her great wisdom, gave away all of Rob's organs due to his request, and they've all made to the proper donors in need, which amazes me because the waiting list just to be a donor is lucrative, and also you have to really take your time to be able to be on not just the list, but also to be accepted. So I'm very proud about that. And then a couple weeks later, there was a GoFundMe made by his niece Alexis, and they made within a matter of 6 weeks close to about $150,000, which went towards the family. And I was also a part of the little tribute that they had at both Lake Mohawk Country Club as well as the Sparta High School, where they had the celebration of life back on Halloween of last year, which influenced me to want to do a music fundraiser in his name. And the original purpose was to try to raise more money for the family. But then I thought, based upon what Christina had told me, thinking that they'd be okay, they're thinking, well, why not we focus on what Rob loved, and that was his students. And we want to try to create an annual event for Rob dedicated to his students. So that way that those that are at a disadvantage financially are able to benefit, whether they want to pursue careers in the arts or if they want to pursue careers in athletics. And that's what our main focus is on for Ambropalooza. And the name Ambropalooza was thought up by me and one of my team members. His name is Frank Stofers, who was a longtime friend of Rob's. And Frank and I needed something that was a little bit outrageous, because Rob was outrageous. Because when you're a football player, you're an athlete, you kind of live it up a little bit, you ham it up. So we wanted to try to do that. And unfortunately, we tried to find a spot that was closer within like the Sparta, Dover area, but nothing was available that could hold the capacity we were looking for. And the only place that we found was the Walpack Inn in Layton, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like one of those hidden gems of New Jersey. It's on a 38-acre estate. It's got a restaurant slash bar, and it's just outdoors. It's a beautiful setting, and I think it's an absolute joy to be up there, and it's a really good time to be around, especially during all the times of, this is a lot of events that happen there occasionally, whether it be music related, whether it be just, an outdoor event like Oktoberfest or something like that. They have really good credibility. As a matter of fact, the biggest outdoor concert that they ever had was the Beach Boys back in the 80s, and that held about 7,000 people. Wow. So you can only imagine, just trying to get up to about 500 to 1,000 people shouldn't necessarily be the biggest, task in the world. But unfortunately, again, we have ups and downs whenever you try to do an event such as this, no matter the circumstance. And we're hoping that many people are aware, or that can be aware, that this gentleman that we're doing this for was not just a friend of mine, but was a friend to many, a family person, a father, an uncle, a brother, a cousin. He was just a wonderful human being. And we want to try to do our best to give back to him, and as well as to let this keep going as long as humanly possible.
You mentioned the organ donation, and 4 people were recipients of his organs. One, the heart, another liver, and both kidneys went to 2 different people. And I think that's so important. And it speaks to, I think, the type of person that Rob was and that his family is. And if you've ever met someone who has donated an organ or who's been the recipient of one, this will sound like a cliche, Rostafa, it's life-changing, but in so many different ways, not just the fact that you've gotten a new liver and you're able to continue, or a kidney or a heart, but just the fact that that someone else did this for you is just, it's almost indescribable.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of people, when they were talking about COVID-19 for the past couple of years, of how politicized it got. There's nothing political about dying. There's nothing political about, suffering from your last breath and not even knowing if you're going to have another one. And again, a lot of times, even in the Western Hemisphere that I've come across, there's a lot of selfishness, because a lot of people think that they can't change the world by just doing one random act of human kindness. And I'm not going to apologize for this, but me being a Christian and who I am is, a lot of times, we fail daily on various things and various topics, but that doesn't mean that we live in grief. That doesn't mean we live in blame or shame and carry that, because ultimately it's up to us as human beings if we want to let go our ego, which, by the way, is an acronym that means accept God out. And I think for a lot of people, this is something that, when you hear Rob Ambrosino or you hear about Rob, there's not a person that ever I go up to that goes, oh my God, I know this guy. Or, oh man, yo, dude, he was there for me when I was doing this and blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, he supported this or he did that. So I ask people, especially since, and just to give you a little insight of what I've been doing on my end to bring the awareness about this event, I always tell people that, again, we always talk about supporting community and supporting our own. Well, the thing is that whenever you post on social media, I understand that there's a love, hate, can't stand
Yes.
social media relationship. But the funny thing is that it's still a great news resource. Of course, you have to verify news, of course, as a third party. But in this case scenario, it's one of those things where on the poster itself, it says, all Sparta and Dover High School students that are currently enrolled are free to enter. The reason why we want to do this is because we want students to understand that life shouldn't be taken for granted, especially when it comes to your teachers. They're the ones that even when you think they don't care about you, they care about you. And especially when parents sometimes may not have a great relationship with their kids, teachers definitely come into that vein and want to help students not only succeed, but allow students to see the potential that they couldn't even see. That was Rob. Rob cared about, especially, I'll even give a quick shout out to Dover High School, because I get so much testimony from a lot of people who are parents of kids or teachers who knew Rob that taught there also, and how he took the time with kids. He took the time, not just teaching them life lessons, but the importance of life. And I don't believe there's a bad word you could say about Robert Ambrosino, Mr. Ambrosino, for some who feel that, that he was just like, an ill-willed or ill-fated, selfish person. No, if he was selfish, he cared about those that he needed to help. And I've also said this to his wife, Christina, where, all those nights where he was, playing music, or he was coming out late and he was coming back home 3-4 o'clock in the morning. He didn't do that just to be seen or to be heard. He did that because he loved his family, and he actually wanted to take care of his family, who lived up in Sparta, New Jersey, and continued to live up there for the time being. And anyways, with social media and everything, the word is out. The word is out, everybody. Ambropalooza. It's at the Walpack Inn. It's in Layton, New Jersey, which is off of 206. Tickets are on sale right now at ambropalooza.com. You can also find the link all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're also trying to live stream as well. Unfortunately, we're still meeting with some trepidation about that, but we're doing our absolute best to provide an external outlet for people that live out of state that may want to see it. Of course, if we have to do it old school and hotspot it from a good source, we'll do our best to do that as well. It's just like I said before, it's one of those cases where we're trying to do our very best to get the word out. We're trying to do our very best to have people buy tickets, not just say that they're going to buy tickets, because here's the other thing. This whole event is set up so that kids that are at a disadvantage, that want to pursue careers in both the athletics or in the arts, that they don't have to suffer through, again, God only knows the bills they have to go through in college. Right now, I think like the average person that somebody pays to go to college is practically hitting the 6 figures now. And that's insulting, because as a college graduate myself, I had a lot of federal aid that came my way due to certain disabilities that I had gone through. But the moral of the story is that when people say that they can't help, they basically prove Henry Ford's quote right. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Rostafa is my guest this morning here on the Jersey Magazine at 105.5 WDHA. We're talking about Ambropalooza, which is going on this Saturday in memory of Rob Ambrosino, who passed away in September of last year. Tell us about the lineup that you've put together for this.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a Jersey boy, so Jersey music's very important to me. But also when it comes to musicianship, you want to have what we call a buffet of talent. And luckily I've got some people that not only knew Rob, but that played with Rob. There's this one band that actually played at the Dover Tribute, and they're called the Uptown Get Downs. One of which is actually a teacher friend of mine that actually played in Hoboken. And he actually plays with the Last Waltz crew, and they're based out of Leo Productions, and they do their event every year in Jersey City at White Eagle Hall. free plug for them. They can thank me later. You put over your own, you know what I mean? But the Uptown Get Downs, there's also Terry Hammer-Smith. Terry Smith Hammer. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it today. So much on the mind. But yeah, no, Terry Smith Hammer is so great. She's a teacher also, who also taught alongside with Rob. She actually was encouraged by Rob years ago to play, and they constantly did gigs together, duo, as well as in Dr. Smith. I absolutely wanted her to be a part of this just to give this event legitimacy. And she's a wonderful person who I actually formed her band for her just for this event alone through mutual friends and people that are just willing and able. Her son, Tyler, who's also a touring musician, is also going to be playing with her as well. There's also a band, I'm hoping this makes air. It's a band called Little Bastard. Lil Bastard is a funk R&B band. All of those members in that band, including Mark Bowers, had played with some of the top A-list talent all around the world, including Prince, Gladys Knight, Robert Randolph, Kool and the Gang, the Manhattans. I mean, you name it, every artist you can think of, including, I think the drummer also played for Roger Waters.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of—
That's a lineup, boy.
Yeah. And all these, and also most of these gentlemen have also played with great jazz artists and blues artists. So there's quite a plethora of people that they've played along with. So funk and R&B, but they'll also surprise you with a few little hints of blues and hints of rock here and there. That is, if you really want it. Book them now. There's another band called the Mike Cohen renditions band. They're mostly like a cover band, but they really knock you down, drag you out, and they're actually opening up for us. We're also going to be featuring the Lake Mohawk Country Club Open Mic All-Star Jam guys. They definitely are the just the creme de la creme when it comes to people that are in a jam scene and they're able to pull up songs and everybody knows them. And there's crowd participation, and a lot of them are friends of mine. Some of them which are actually going to be in my band that I'm going to be talking about in a second. And for those of you that don't know about the Lake Mohawk Country Club Open Mic, it's every other Friday, every other Saturday, depending on the dais, at Lake Mohawk Country Club in Sparta, New Jersey. Actually, the next one is June 10th, the day before Ambropalooza at Lake Mohawk Country Club. I believe it's going to be indoors, depending on if we get good weather. Might be outdoors. My band, Rostafa & Co., is basically an 11-piece band. We have vocalists, we have saxophone, we got drums, 2 keyboards, a lot of guitars, bass, you name it, we got it. And we're definitely going to be doing some songs and dedicated to Rob's wife, Christina, and a few other different people, including Rob himself. There's also a great lineup in terms of our headliner. They're called Rainbow Full of Sound. They're a Grateful Dead tribute band. Rob was a huge fan of the Grateful Dead. We knew we wanted one, especially in the northwest part of Jersey. Many people don't know that's jam band country.
Yes, it is.
They really love jam band culture and all that. And they're just absolutely wonderful. I'm making sure that I don't forget anybody off the top of my head. But yeah, it's quite a lineup. And we definitely want everybody to understand that all of these musicians, I should say the majority of these musicians are really lending their time and their effort to make sure that they provide the very best in entertainment to perform for those that invest into this fundraiser, that invest into these scholarships. And I want to also just give a quick shout out to Sparta Unico. Unico is an Italian organization that they're actually celebrating their 100th year in existence, dating all the way back to, I believe it was 1922. And they have chapters all across New Jersey, but they're a national wide based organization for Italian culture. Jerry Ambrosino and Rob Ambrosino, Rob's dad, Jerry, they all founded, along with other members, the Sparta chapter of Unico, which is made up of different communities that surround Sparta and in Sparta. And they've been wonderful. We found them literally at the last minute because I will not kid you. I called up every 501c3 possible within Sussex County alone for 3 months. And it was not easy, but I will say it was worth it because, again, me being a man of faith, I did not want to do this if I wasn't partnering with Jesus. That's my main That's my main partner and my main, witness, because this has all been a spiritual journey for me. Even, I'll even admit there's still times where it seems tough and it seems impossible when people can sound pessimistic, but, I'll go back to Henry Ford once again, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
You are very inspirational, and in line with that, if you've been inspired during the course of this conversation to think about or explore organ donation, there's a website, njsharingnetwork.org, njsharingnetwork.org. And for all details, Ambropalooza related, you can go online to ambropalooza.com. Rostafa, thank you very much for your time this morning here on the Jersey Magazine, and the best of luck with this event. I hope it goes well this year and in years forward.
Hope so too, brother. Say a prayer for all of us.